Hi everyone! My name is Silver, and I am the director and audio editor of the Andromeda 6 Fandub. Today, I'll be showing you a speedrun of what goes on behind the scenes audio editing wise. I tried making this for an earlier episode, but it did not work out so well because the video editor I was using crashed a lot. So I made sure to do things a little bit differently this time, and it worked, so yeah. The video is sped up 7 times faster than normal speed, so we aren't here for the full 4 to 5 hours it took me to do this. So first off, I forgot to hit record when I started, so I started Oppo's and had already edited I's lines, but I go through the same process as I would editing their lines with June, Damon, Cal, and Nico. The first thing I do after I download everybody's lines is load them in Adobe Audition into a labeled track with their name and color. Usually, I don't fine edit lines until everybody's stuff is in, but since June only had one line, I just decided to do it there and now. I'll go into that process later. Anyways, after I load in their lines, I listen to the takes they gave me and pick out the best one. When I'm picking out takes, I like to have the game side by side so I know what the sprite looks like. Sometimes I need to hear all the takes several times before picking out the one. I do this for every character in the episode, and usually reserve Nico for last since they have the most lines. Generally speaking, I ask for 3 takes, but sometimes people give me more or less, depending on the line. For instance, there's only so many different ways you can say the line, okay, whereas there can be lots of different ways for the dramatic lines such as, I watched him get stabbed to death, or whatever. Sometimes I end up splitting a take in parts because I liked a portion of take 1, but the second half of take 2. Here is where I export the takes I picked out and reload them in. It seems kind of redundant, but it actually saves me time when I have to do the fine editing, believe it or not. Now here is where the real work of editing begins. I have to go through every single line and basically cut out any kind of unpleasant mouth noises, breathing, or weird sounds that get recorded. It's extremely tedious but important for good quality. Would you want to hear the strange noises people make when they talk? I don't think so. So because of this, I know how everyone in the cast breathes when they voice act, as I've had to cut out everyone breathing. After the fine editing, I add EQ and a speech leveler. I have different EQ settings for each person, so I have to apply it to the individual tracks. Then, I begin to edit the music. Music can be really annoying since I have to figure out how to loop the track without it being ridiculously noticeable. Also, sometimes, the music volume changes dramatically, and then I have to mess with that. When the music is finished and ready to be copy-pasted into however long it needs to be, I add the tracks to the proper bus track because dialogue and narration need different treatment. Dialogue gets that slight echo to it, whereas the narration doesn't really have that. After that's finished, I add any special effects. Like in this case, Ayame's intercom and Oppo's hologram effects. Then, there's the tedious job of timing everything. It's literally the most annoying thing ever, but has to be done correctly and precisely, or else video editing is a mess. Sound effects are usually added when I time. When I time, there's a lot of adjusting I do as well. Sometimes the effects, EQ, or whatever needs tweaking, so I juggle between that and timing. Timing is usually when I fix any kind of weird volumes that show up sometimes. It's hard to tell because the video is really sped up, but there's a lot of going back and forth between the lines, and a lot of replaying because I'm bent on getting the correct timing. If the space between lines is too long, it's really awkward, but if the space between lines is too short, it sounds rushed and not natural. Nobody talks right after one another in real life. It's not like, oh, hi, you know? There are some natural pauses that are in a conversation. It's important to replicate those when audio editing to get the most realistic product you can. Additionally, the game has transitions you have to account for timing-wise.
Forever young, ever strong, ever brave. Memories like this never end. No, they don't fade away. So when I'm gone away.
I leave a space here because Nico's VA missed a line here. I sent him a message after and he'll give it to me at a later time to put in. Surprisingly, it's not much of an inconvenience as one might think it is. Usually, I just estimate the time block it will take to read that particular line and adjust everything later if I need to.
Close to the sun. Close to the sun.
At the very end, I always leave like 5 to 8 seconds of the music fading out or whatever, so the ending is not just bam, it's done. It's a natural fade out like you see in movies. Finally, after all that work, I am done. I have to go through again at a later time for a final check in case I mess something up or miss something, but I usually wait a day or so because it's usually better to listen with fresh ears. After, I record the gameplay and send it to our video editor, Panay. This episode was on the shorter side, so it only took me about 5 hours of editing to finish it. But the usual episode takes about 7 to 8 hours of audio editing. That's basically why I went to combust during the semester, as I don't always have 7 to 8 hours of free time to dedicate each week during that time. I'm not 100% sure of Panay's process, but I do know it takes them roughly 10 to 15 hours to video edit, and they are also in college, so you know. If you've gotten this far, thank you so much for listening to me ramble on about what I do. When I first started watching Fandubs, I honestly thought it was like 80% voice actors, 10% audio editing, and 10% video editing. But it's honestly more like 10% directing, 30% voice actors, 30% audio editing, and 30% video editing. There is a lot that goes on behind the scenes, way more than one might think. I've learned so much through this project, and I can't wait to continue this. Thank you so much for listening! As a final note, I'd like to properly credit my cat Holly for helping me edit this. She is precious and I love her with all my heart. Please stay safe and have a great day!